Assalamu alaikum. My name is Roshan Mohammed. Welcome to Roshan's Delights for Ramadan. I have Nadir with me. Nadir, welcome.
Assalamu alaikum, jazakallah,
Walaikum
Roshan.
salam.
Thank you.
So nice to see you again.
Likewise. We look forward to cooking for you guys today again.
What are you doing today?
So today we're mixing a bit of Italian with some Middle Eastern spices. We're making a rose and pistachio panna cotta. Something sweet, whether you're going to have it after Taraweeh or just after Iftar, it's definitely a crowd pleaser, whether it's at home or in a big gathering. It's something you guys are going to enjoy.
Thank you. I leave you to your work.
Thank you so much. Let me run you guys through the ingredients again. We've got about 45 grams of white sugar, 2 tablespoons of milk. This is one part of the milk we're going to be using this to bloom our gelatine. We've got some crushed pistachios, that's our garnish. We've got, according to weight, 220 grams of fresh cream, 110 grams of milk. We've got approximately 4 tablespoons of rose syrup, but we're not going to use all of it. Some of it we're going to use it for garnish afterwards. We've got a tablespoon of halal gelatin, a teaspoon of vanilla essence, and we've got some pomegranate seeds or pomegranate pits that we're going to be using for garnishing as well. I've got some ramekins that we're going to allow our panna cotta to set in. The only thing I've done to these ramekins, I've greased them with some spray and cook, or you can use some butter just so the panna cotta doesn't stick. So the first thing we're going to do is take our gelatin, and we're going to take the 2 tablespoons of milk, and we're just going to hydrate the gelatin, or what we call blooming the gelatin. So remember, it's got a sugar-like texture, but it's not actually going to dissolve. You just want to make sure that all the gelatin is hydrated, that the milk has touched all the gelatin. And this is one of the parts where this recipe can fail, is if you bloom the gelatin with water opposed to milk. The milk just makes sure that you're not going to have any splitting in your panna cotta. So my gelatin is fully hydrated. It's going to form a small gelatin mass in about 2 to 3 minutes. And while that's taking place, I'm just going to start chucking all my ingredients into my pot. There's no specific order in which this has to go. So we've started with the cream, then we're going to go with the milk. After that, I'm going to follow with the vanilla essence. And then, of course, the sugar. Something to keep note with regards to this recipe, obviously we're making a rose panna cotta. You can substitute the essence or the flavor with whatever flavor you want, whether it's coffee, licorice, just plain vanilla. What you need to be mindful of is the amount of sugar. So if I've got something that's extremely syrupy or sweet, I need to just lessen my sugar slightly. So in this case, I've taken 45 grams of sugar, and I'm going to put about 3 of those tablespoons of rose syrup inside. So not all of it. I just want to keep a little bit back for my garnishing right at the end. I'm going to put this onto a medium heat. And as it starts to simmer, you don't want this to come to a boil, because when it boils, the fat will saturate from the milk enzymes, and that's also going to split your panna cotta. As it comes to a simmer, that's when we're going to add our gelatin. By that time, our little gelatin mass would have been started to form, and we'll go on to the next step from there. Just going to take my whisk, going to whisk all those ingredients together. Once again, this is a Ramadan recipe that we're doing. We're doing the rose with the pistachio, with the pomegranate seeds. But the flavor, the final decision is yours. You want to make it into a licorice flavor. You want to make it into an Earl Grey flavor. Steep your Earl Grey leaves inside and let that brew like you brew in a tea, a milky tea. And then once it's strong enough, you're going to add your gelatin inside. So this will take about a minute or so, and as it comes to boil, we'll be ready to put in our gelatin. It's been about a minute. You can see that it's starting to simmer around. It hasn't yet boiled. My gelatin has already bloomed inside. It looks like a little sugary, milky mixture. I'm going to add all my gelatin into my milk and cream mixture. Get all of that in. And now this is a very important step. We're just going to whisk it slightly to get all of that gelatin dissolved. And now we're going to put it up to full heat, and we're going to allow the milk to boil. At this stage, you can allow the milk mixture to boil, and it's something that you're going to see, we'll catch it on this camera, you're going to see a gelatin boil. It almost looks like a spider web. And once you see that, you know that the gelatin has attached to the fats inside the milk, and you're going to have a perfectly set panna cotta. So once again, this is a panna cotta by tradition, is an Italian dish. We have made it our version of Middle Eastern. It's something we do serve in our fine dining restaurant. And as it comes to a boil, we're just going to take it off the heat so it doesn't boil over. I'm just putting that there. And as you can see, it looks like a little spider web that has formed, and that is what we call a gelatine boil. So that's your panna cotta done. We're just going to give it a slight stir. Put that aside, and now we're going to set it into our ramekins. Like I said, my ramekins have been pre-greased with spray and cook. You can use butter if you want as well. And this recipe I've given you will probably fill 150 ml to 180 ml ramekins, about 2 of them. You obviously can just times the amount of ingredients for as much as you want to cook for entire family, times it by 4, cook for a small family, times it by 2. If you've got smaller ramekins, it will fit about 6 to 12. It just depends on you, right? But we want a nice hearty portion. So I'm going to pour this into my ramekins, and thereafter we're going to let it sit outside for about 5 minutes, just until it comes to under 100 degrees Celsius. And from there, we're going to pop this into the fridge for 6 hours, and then we'll be ready to serve. Making a bit of a mess here. It smells so good. And I think when you fasting, your senses are heightened. So everything smells like rose milkshake at the moment. So with that mixture, I got approximately 2 by 200 ml or 2 by 180 ml measurements out. I'm going to clean up here, leave this for a couple of minutes, and pop them into the fridge for 6 hours. And I'll see you guys in 6 hours when we're ready to plate. This has been in the fridge for 6 hours. You can leave it overnight. I've already decanted one of them. As you can see, it's got this nice little jiggle, and that's what you're after. It's almost like a faluda-like texture, but panna cotta is obviously panna cotta with cream, with milk. That's what it means. It's a lot more rich. We're just going to garnish this. We're going to take some of that leftover syrup that we have and just put it around our plate. And then we're going to garnish it with our pistachios. Just put that in the center, and we put some around our plate. And then, of course, our pomegranate seeds that go right on top. And there we have it, our rose and pistachio panna cotta.